Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Nicole Russo. Welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Stonestreet. Let's throw up the field for Wednesday's Spa Baby race. It's August the 7th. It's race number 2. It's the kickoff leg of a 50-cent early pick 5. And Nicole, the 4 Gerlin's Empire, is out of a mare by Curlin. And Curlin, of course, is Stonestreet superstar.
Yeah, Curlin, one of many Stonestreet superstars who performed so well at Saratoga over the years, a grade 1 winner at this track, along with the likes of, Rachel Alexandra and so many others who we've seen in the Stonestreet colors.
Number 1 in here is Bossy Dish. This is a second-time starter going out for Rudy Rodriguez. Iran Ortiz takes the mount on Bossy Dish, a half to a grade 2 stakes-winning synthetic router named Broken Sword. Bossy Dish is by Catalina Cruiser, 8% winners with 2-year-olds. The dam was a stakes-winning turf sprinter in New Zealand. Bossy Dish, of course, has experience. Raced once, was dismissed at a long price, but they ran 1-2 around the track that day. The winner has shown some promise, and the third Silver Circle, one of the horses in this race, came back to run third.
Yeah, a very well-regarded winner that day, and a couple of horses emerging from that race to run well already. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a few winners to come out of there. One thing you want to pay attention to as we go through this race is this is one of these auction restricted maidens for horses that sold or were bought back for 50,000 or less in their most recent sale. One good angle that we found in these races in recent years is to look for horses who were kind of right up on the cusp of that, and Bossy Dish, who was a $40,000 Keeneland September yearling, kind of approaching that threshold.
Number 2 in here is Thankfully. This is a daughter of Tom's d'Etat, a $10,000 short yearling. The dam was a stakes winner on the synthetic. She's sold 2 runners. None have won just yet, but there is some speed in this pedigree as well as some precocity. Let's watch Thankfully's career debut. Gulfstream Park, muddy track. And this horse ran quite well, wired over the muddy going, but tries really hard to finish second with a respectable Beyer speed figure.
Yeah, tried really hard, and she was making up a little bit of ground late, just a dogged effort, a solid effort. And it's encouraging to me that she picks up Javier Castellano here for a barn that unveiled an impressive winner over the weekend in Ferocious.
Gustavo Delgado trains the 2. Thankfully, you should benefit from that debut experience. The number 3 is Mez California, going out for trainer Kenny McPeak. Julian Leperoux will take the mount. $25,000 yearling. This one is by Coalfront. The dam one routing on the dirt. There is some distance in this pedigree, but she should really benefit from her debut. A race where she was wired by the odds-on favorite in a paceless race. And one thing I've noticed over the years is the McPeak babies get better with a little experience.
Absolutely. Sometimes they take a race or two. He's one who doesn't mind running them fit a little bit. And Front kind of quietly developing into a solid little stallion. I think he got a bit overshadowed by his stablemates in the freshman class last year, as Spendthrift had Matoli, Omaha Beach, Vino Rosso. But, Colefront was a very respectable freshman sire for them as well.
The number 4 is Gerlin's Empire. And Nicole, you mentioned the restrictions for this race. This one just barely qualifies, selling for the $50,000 as a 2-year-old. She is by Classic Empire out of a sprint-winning dam. And I thought she ran pretty well in her career debut. She finished second, well ahead of Mez California. Just caught an experienced horse with a lot of speed.
Yeah, and I think she should certainly benefit from this debut. And you mentioned her $50,000 cutoff sale price. She sold up each time that she went through the sale ring. You see there, 10,000 is a weanling, 15 is a yearling, and then all the way up to 50 is a 2-year-old. That says to me that, the horse has just progressed steadily and the right way throughout her development.
The number 5 is Not Too Late. Now, she sold for $75,000 as a yearling, but then when she breezed at the May 2-year-old sale, I guess she just didn't impress, only going for $8,000. She is by a hot first crop sire in Mackenzie. She's a half-sister to a stakes winner on the synthetic. The dam was stakes placed on turf, and she just happened to catch a runaway in her debut at Parks.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that the 2-year-old sale price drop, and I'm going to bring that up because that circumstance applies to a couple of horses in this race. When they drop in price as a 2-year-old, I'm not too fussed about it. So much at those 2-year-old sales depends on those breeze shows. You'll see horses that maybe you wouldn't have tabbed as oh, this is going to be the sale topper based on their pedigree. You'll see those horses really step forward price wise because they breezed so impressively. That being said, horses aren't machines. Young horses are still learning at every stage. A furlong, which is the traditional distance for these breeze shows, doesn't always show the horse, particularly a later developing horse, at their best. So I don't necessarily fault a 2 year old for not going out dazzling at the breeze show and fetching a high price, because there are so many factors that can play into their performance that day. So selling down doesn't concern me too much. That said, I do think the McKinseys will continue to develop with more ground. I think a furlong was not, sort of the best distance for this filly, and I do think she'll continue to develop.
Similar situation with the 6, Royal Princess. This is a daughter of Liam's Map going out for Brittany Russell. Manny Franco takes the mount. She sold for $180,000 as a yearling. Breezed a furlong in 10-1 and then sold for $50,000. The dam was stakes placed on the dirt going a little longer. It's the family of Composure who like to go a little bit longer. Maybe distance will be okay, but Brittany Russell's a very good trainer based in the Mid-Atlantic area, and this really shows some quick workouts.
Yeah, and there are so many racing opportunities in the Mid-Atlantic area that I don't think Brittany Russell is going to bring a 2 year old all the way up to Saratoga without a reason, unless she thinks that this is good placement for this horse in particular. And yeah, another situation where the horse sold down as a 2 year old. Again, that never is really too much of a black mark, in my opinion. But, selling down for a 2 year old, she did just make the threshold for the auction cutoff price for this race. And again, that's been a solid angle in these races.
The 7 is Tiz Purple. Now, she's sold twice and she sold down, but she sold down as a yearling. $112,000 as a short yearling early in her yearling season, then went for $40,000. There's a lot of ability in this family. The dam's a half to Baby J, a fleet sprinter, laureate conductor who is good going longer on the turf. And Tiz Purple ran well, as you see in her career debut here, finishing second. She was wired by a pretty fleet horse, but she earned a 65 Beyer speed figure going out for Jorge Delgado. Tyler Gaffalione will ride on Wednesday.
Yeah, and when a horse sells down from, a short yearling or weanling price to a yearling price, caveat that I did not see this horse in particular, but young horses change so much as they're growing. And perhaps this horse was a very good physical, sort of at a younger stage in her development. But then, they can hit a growth spurt where all of a sudden you're like, oh, the hindquarters are about 2 hands higher than the shoulders. They can just do weird things as they're growing up and growing through growth spurts. So again, not having seen this horse, perhaps that's the sort of explanation that you're getting there. The immediate family of Baby J, who was a debut winner, was multiple graded stakes placed at 2, and then went on to be a graded winning sprinter at 3. And Tiz the Law freshman sire this year, a grade 1 winning 2 year old around 1 turn himself.
And the morning line favorite in this race, and arguably the horse to beats, the 8, Will Not Be Swayed. Again, she just barely qualifies, a $50,000 yearling by first crop sire and Preakness winner War of Will. This is the first foal out of an unraced dam. There is some speed in this pedigree. This filly ran well in her debut, just sort of down inside, taking a little bit of dirt, made a strong 3-wide move into the stretch, and the pace setting, a more experienced runner got the better of her late, but it was a good try.
Yeah, and probably learned quite a bit from that effort, racing on the inside, et cetera, et cetera. Certainly has drawn better this time for a bit clearer trip. And it's encouraging that Pratt stays aboard her. War of Will, I think they're starting to figure them out a little bit. And I think he's going to be a very versatile stallion as far as dirt, turf. I think they will want to go a little bit longer. I certainly like this filly going from 5.5 furlongs a touch up.
Let's take a look at our top selections for our Wednesday Spa Baby race. I like the inside to outside move here with the 8, Will Not Be Swayed, who was down inside and took a little bit of dirt in her debut. I think outside she'll be in the clear, good tactical speed, and in with a big chance. But Gerland's Empire is very intriguing because we've seen Dallas Stewart pop at prices with 2-year-olds at Saratoga. This horse showed some sneaky speed in her debut, and I would expect her to improve.
Yeah, and that's sort of the angle I'm looking for here. Definitely liked the experienced horses in this race as you did. I think Gerland's Empire can take a step forward for a barn that often does that, and a barn that, as you said, can pop at a price. And, I like that this horse just seems to be continuing to develop. We mentioned the progression in the sale prices, a good effort on debut. I think she can keep developing here.
Nicole's going to go 4876. I'm going 8627. It's our Spa Baby race for Wednesday kickoff leg of a 50-cent early pick 5. Our coverage presented by Stonestreet. Best of luck.